there's another piece of this that is getting quite interesting. And I will say that this next piece that I have is in large part thanks to a multitude of leaks that are coming out of Turning Point USA. Now, right away, you might ask, why is that happening? Well, I can tell you in my experience, political organizations sometimes don't recognize that they are not like corporate organizations. What I mean by that is not whether or not the organization is a corporate, but rather sometimes they get the wrong idea that they can sort of do things that people can do on Wall Street, right? Like if a CEO steps down from Wendy's, you could just replace that person as another CEO and nobody cares. If you're buying chicken nuggets from Wendy's, you don't really care who the CEO is. Doesn't really work like that with political organizations, right? When it comes to politics, people get behind someone because they believe in that individual's ideas, right? You can't just play a swapsy all the time or think it's just going to go on and you're still going to have that same energy behind you. And so obviously this is a terrible situation and Charlie is gone, but with people not getting answers, right? With people that are working at Turning Point USA not feeling like, okay, are we as an organization fighting? Are we going to speak about the things that Charlie cared about? Are we going to call out the things that we feel are wrong here? They're not wanting to get behind that. They feel that the organization is now being motivated just by money. And
how do you know that? Again, I understand she said leaks. At this point in the game, Candace, you just have to say names. The names must be named. Who said this? Who is saying what you're saying? And if they're bold enough to say it, then they need to come up and be straightforward. Otherwise, don't say it, because nobody knows where you got this information from. You're saying that the organization 2 weeks after Charlie Kirk's passing, not a whole month, not half a year, not a whole year, 2 weeks, barely a solid 15 days. You think that the whole organization is going after money now, per your source. Man, what's your source? And again, if you are a Candy and you're given to these kind of conspiracies, which are just grown up gossip, let's just be honest, then you need to ask Candaspiracy, where is she getting this information from? We're not going to believe it. Don't come to us and tell us you have a source. There's somebody leaked this. You found it on the dark web. No, we need to see the evidence. It's funny. And I know people, feel like I'm just being mean to Candace, and that's fine. I'll accept that. I'll take those charges because she's just being disingenuous. But it's funny because the reason we have a system of government, or sorry, a legal system where one witness can't just put somebody in jail. So, oh, you did this and now they cart you off to jail. You have to get evidence. The reason you actually have to get evidence is actually from the scriptures. It teaches us that you can't just say, take the word of one person. You have to have at least 2 or maybe 3 witnesses in order to confirm a fact. So that's why we have evidence. So you can have a witness, but then you go get their cell phone data. You have a witness, but then you look at their geo-tracking or look at their social media or find somebody else to corroborate it. Why is Candace the only witness? Candace is her own witness. This wouldn't work in a legal form. If she was on a stand and said, trust me, bro, they would throw her out. Why do y'all believe her? Why do you believe her? Because there's something about you. I know the Candies are going to get in their feelings about this, and that's okay. Come on up here to the front of the church. Why is it that you want to believe gossip without hope? I mean, we're adults, for crying out loud. We're not junior in high school, right? Well, I mean, there could be some kids in here from junior high school. Okay, I'll take it back. Most of us are adults here. That being the case, why do you want to believe something with no evidence? Good, bad, or indifferent. Why are you not doing like Reagan? Trust but verify. Why are you not asking Candace for her receipts? Because she will never show the receipts. Never. She's having phone conversations, emails, and DMs, all this stuff, and you never see it. It's just trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. And you know what's going to happen if you confront Candace, when you get down to it and you really confront her and you say, Candace, where are you getting this information? Like, how do you know this? Like, what's going on?
I don't know, but I know. Okay. I don't know, but I know. It makes sense.
That's what you're going to get. You know it. But then why is it that you want her to lie to you? Why are you okay with that? Let's go.
And that this company's priorities have somewhat shifted, and that really how people on the outside that are looking in are going, what's going on here? Why are people not more rattled by the lies that are being told? Actually, I think if Charlie were here, he'd be talking about
some of the things. Candace, the only person that's saying that the lies are you. Is it possible? Do you make room, Candaspiracy, for the idea that you're the only one that thinks these are lies? Because you haven't shown us. Now show us that they're lies, and then we'll rock with you. If you show us like, okay, yeah, that does look pretty sketchy. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But ma'am, you haven't shown us anything. We don't believe you. And hats off to the people at Turning Point that are not moving based upon Candace's stories. Let's go.
The weird things that were being told about this story, right? Ironically. And so many people have reached out and they spoke about the finances at Turning Point USA. And, I'm not exactly a forensic accountant, but I know that other journalists got really interested in this angle who were similarly receiving leaks and have pushed this off to forensic.
Who are the journalists? Who corroborates what you're saying? And now you're calling into question their money. This woman is evil, y'all. Now she's calling into question their finances. Not even a whole 2 weeks, not even a whole pay period. Hardly a whole pay period since Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. Everything's changed. What evidence?
Accountants and some of the stuff is getting very interesting. I did want to show you guys this because I think this proves what we have been hearing. It's at least a starting point. An insider who said that they were there and present when Charlie had expressed some concerns about where the money was going. And leading up to that moment, Charlie had by and large completely removed himself outside of the organ of fundraising, which is to say that it wasn't something that he necessarily had his finger on. Of course, he always would show up for top donor meetings. He is the face of the company. But in terms of the accounting specifics, he trusted his lieutenants. Of course, something that big, you're clearing $100 million a year, you got to have lieutenants and you have to trust those lieutenants. And of course, sometimes those leaders don't like one another. That's all normal. But then there arrived a moment when Charlie felt that the money was disappearing. Allegedly, I'll say allegedly here, but I think we have some proof that shows that. And the excuses that he was being given for the money disappearing wasn't adding up for Charlie. Said another way, the math wasn't mathing, okay? He felt that, again, according to sources.
So, according to sources, who are those sources, Candace? At this point in the game, we don't believe you. So who are the sources? Who is saying this? And if they're whistleblowers, they're protected under whistleblower laws. So if there's some shenanigans going on at TPUSA and they get fired or retribution happens, they do have a fallback, and they do have an advocate because they're a whistleblower. So who are the actual sources, Candace? Because she's saying stuff like money went missing. So now we got embezzlement, we got donor fraud, probably wire fraud, all kinds of shenanigans that she's just throwing out there. No evidence whatsoever, just a big, huge, gigantic, trust me, bro. And no way to confirm or deny. As we said in the beginning, it's almost impossible to unhear a lie. Let her finish, Jason.
That the company was burning through cash too quickly. And Charlie set about finding out why and how this was happening. So on September 2nd, which is, of course, just 1 week before he lost his life, Charlie surprised the company by announcing that he was putting together a Doge department. Yes, a department of government efficiency like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy had set out to do. Trump won. They got behind him, right? They said, hey, there's a lot of pork. We don't know where this money is going. People are just accepting checks. Again, this is the whole purpose of the Department of Doge. You put us in there and we're going to figure out how all these bureaucrats are just wasting tax dollars. Really kind of a nice way of saying we're going to conduct an audit of the government, right? That's the only way to look at what Doge was. It's an audit, and then you cut the fat and you see where the money's actually going.
Do you see how she's doing? And I'm not the best at the various and sundry examples here, but everybody knows what Doge was about. And everybody knows that the federal government, even our local governments, are well out. They spend way more than they need to. We know that. We know they're inefficient. So she uses the Doge example and marries it and conflates it and melds it with TPUSA. So because we all know that Doge was finding all this pork, all this waste, all this overspending, all this shenanigans, and now she's mixing it and putting it in the same sentence with TPUSA. What am I supposed to think about TPUSA? Well, she didn't say that they were fiscally responsible. She didn't say they were stalwarts and good use of money and they're on a Dave Ramsey budget. No, she's using Doge, and everybody knows what Doge and Elon Musk were about when they were doing that. Department of Governmental Efficiency. What is she saying about TPUSA? See that even in her not saying, she is saying tacitly that these people were wasting money. But watch this. And Charlie wanted to institute a Doge just a week before his assassination. So what is she saying? What is she saying by saying that statement? I want to back up a little bit so you can make sure I'm not making it up, because I know there's still some candies that rock with her. What is she saying? Yeah, you know what Jason is saying? Jason is saying, smash that like button. Hit the like button, my guy. Thank you so much. Jason Wildboy in the building.
Hey, there's a lot of pork. We don't know where this money is going. People are just accepting checks. Again, this is the whole purpose of the Department of Doge. You put us in there and we're going to figure out how all these bureaucrats are just wasting tax dollars. Really kind of a nice way of saying we're going to conduct an audit of the government, right? That's the only way to look at what Doge was. It's an audit, and then you cut the fat and you see where the money's actually going. Don't listen to me, by the way, because we can read Charlie in his own words. This was a internal memo that went out, signed off by Charlie on September 2nd. I'm going to skip to the relevant portions. He's first and foremost announcing that Dear Team America, effective immediately, again, September 2nd, Justin Strife is taking on a new elevated role with Turning Point USA as its COO. Since joining TPUSA in 2020, Justin has led Turning Point's fundraising division and in more recent years has been involved in some organizational operations. filling the COO role in many ways, but now officially taking on the title and expanded responsibilities. Now we're going to jump to that last big paragraph. He writes, in this role, I have empowered Justin, among other priorities, to engage in an organizational-wide Doge effort. Justin will be assembling a small team to assist in this effort, which is focused on Turning Point USA, 1, becoming more efficient, 2, becoming more cost-effective, 3, unifying organizational success around company-wide metrics and goals, and 4, reshaping company culture. I expect many positive changes to come from this forthcoming initiative and Justin's expanded role. Please join me in congratulating Justin on this new role with the organization. So I felt that with all of the rumors that I'm hearing, to see that Charlie was essentially putting together a small team to begin looking at money and ways to be more quote unquote efficient, it's looking like that's relevant, that all of these tips that we are receiving from insiders is accurate. And what we're understanding is that there are a lot of contractors.
I'm not trying to be just contrary for contrary's sake. By the way, I'm looking for that letter. I'm not trying to be contrary for contrary's sake. Does that sound like the house is on fire though? I'm not trying to be funny. What she read, does that sound like the house is on fire and we gotta we're in bad shape? And I really want to read the whole thing, and because I don't think it's not telling me they are saying that they need to be good stewards, which is fine. I think that's good. And he brought in the memo, Charlie brings in Doge, so shout out to Charlie, of course. So yeah, but does that sound like the house is on fire? Like it's like we got to get this fixed because we're in bad shape, or does it sound more like, hey, we're just trying to be good stewards? I'm trying to find this letter, and I don't see it. I'm sure somebody's gonna put it in the chat when they find it. Real quick, is this it? Nobody has it. That is very interesting. I think that's adorable. But does that read to y'all? And maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. Shout out in the chat. No, it does. It doesn't sound like it's the world is on fire, and that it just seems like they're trying to do. Hey, we need to be better stewards of our money, better steward of the money that people are giving us. To me, that makes sense. It doesn't sound like a house is on fire type of scenario. I'm looking for that letter. I'll back up just a little smidgen. Hopefully I can catch it. Let's make it bigger screen. How about that, Jason?
Off by Charlie on September 2nd. I'm going to skip to the relevant portions. He's first and foremost announcing that Dear Team America, effective immediately. Again, September 2nd, Justin Strife is taking...
Hold on, let me take a screenshot of that. Okay, got it.
On a new elevated role with Turning Point USA as its COO since joining TPUSA in 2020. Justin has led Turning Point's fundraising division and in more recent years has been involved in some organizational operations, filling the COO role in many ways, but now officially taking on the title and expanded responsibilities. Now we're going to jump to that last big paragraph. He writes, in this role, I have empowered Justin, among other priorities, to engage in an organizational-wide Doge effort. Justin will be assembling a small team to assist in this effort, which is focused on Turning Point USA, 1, becoming more efficient, 2, becoming more cost-effective, 3, unifying organizational success around company-wide metrics and goals, and 4, reshaping company culture. I expect many positive changes to come from this forthcoming initiative and Justin's expanded role. Please join me in congratulating Justin on this new role with the organization. So I felt that with all of the rumors that I'm hearing, to see that Charlie was essentially putting together a small team to begin looking at money and ways to be more quote unquote efficient, it's looking like that's relevant, that all of these tips that we are receiving from insiders is accurate. And what we're understanding is that there are a lot of contractors and people essentially who were taking money both ways, who were bringing in money and cutting deals. Said simply, the money was looking funny, okay? And Charlie set out to determine why, which means that others should maybe set out to determine why. Is this department still going? And like I said to you, others are setting out to determine why. There are journalists, forensic accountants that have been hired, and what I have been shown, the preliminary findings are quite astonishing, okay?
So
and I will say
they got preliminary findings since September 2nd. So in 24 days, they were able to get all of that and show something, have something preliminary to show Candace Owens, to show Candaspiracy. She's seen the shot behind his head. She's seen the Ninja Turtle tunnels. She's seen, is anybody believing all of this? Because I'm not. She's seen the guy running across the roof. Now she's seen the fine details and interactions of the finances inside of Turning Point. Okay. I mean, that's basically what she's doing, Alex, at this point. She is accusing and setting up the stage, because what she's going to do is say, I never said it. Well, ma'am, you're tacitly saying it, and people don't like it, but you wouldn't be able to do this in a court of law. This is leading a witness. You would not be able to do this. So the things that Candace does are legally inappropriate. You would be considered leading a witness or anything of that nature, that you're not going to be able to do that. So that's my point. when she implies something, she says something and tacitly implies it. She's basically saying it. All right, let's go. We're almost
this. My sources at Turning Point said something that I found to be crucial, interesting. They said that Charlie wasn't just concerned about where the money was going, but also where the money was coming from. Where the money was coming from. What are we to make of that? Okay? What are we to make of that? What does that mean? Either speaking about companies that were kind of flooding the zone with money so that they could have more influence, but they had questions about those companies. It sounds like there were people who were effectively double agents making money on commissions on both sides of a contract. I've seen a lot, and I'm going to allow the reports to come out next week that people who have really seized upon that and are looking at things. And I think a lot's going to be revealed, like I said, as it should. We want to know everything. We want to know absolutely everything. I'm going to tell you guys a bit more, as well as responding to a lot of what I think are just unfair criticisms of people that are attacking Erica.
And we know that she's going to be attacking Erica. The only reason people are attacking Erica is because Candace put Erica on the chopping block. And Candace, the Candies, will do pretty much whatever Candace puts out there. And so she's put Erica out there. You just go to TikTok and you'll see it. People are mad reckless talking about Erica. They don't know her from a can of paint, but they have all of these opinions about her and so on and so forth. And a lot of them are derived from what Candace has said about this situation. Because she's tacitly saying that TPUSA put a hit out on Charlie Kirk. That's basically what she's saying. Now, of course, she didn't say it verbatim as I'm saying it, but you can derive it pretty quickly from what she's saying. And you'll also hear it from the people that follow Candace, that are the Candies. When they respond, they say things like this, like, well, where did you get that from? Candace said it. So I'm not just making it up. You're not just implying it. Candace is putting it out there. And then as somebody said earlier, she throws a rock and hides her hand. Well, she's throwing the rock and the Candies are right there running alongside to say, hey, no, Candace didn't do it. Candace didn't do it. She didn't say that, but she did. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.